Hello dear students. In today's class we will understand second part of the prose The Portrait of a Lady written by Kushwant Singh. Please open your textbook students. Page number 70, paragraphs 3 and 4. My grandmother and I were good friends. My parents left me with her when they went to live in the city and we were constantly together. She used to wake me up in the morning and get me ready for school. She said her morning prayer in a monotonous sing-song while she bathed and dressed me in the hope that I would listen and get to know it by heart. I listened because I loved her voice, but never bothered to learn it. Then she would fetch my wooden slate, which she had already washed and plastered with yellow chalk, a tiny earthen ink pot, and a red pen, tie them all in a bundle, and hand it to me. After a breakfast of thick stale chapati with a little butter and sugar spread on it, we went to school. She carried several stale chapatis with her for the village dogs. My grandmother always went to school with me because the school was attached to the temple. The priest taught us the alphabet and the morning prayer. While the children sat in rows on either side of the veranda singing the alphabet or the prayer in a chorus, my grandmother sat inside reading the scriptures. When we had both finished, we would walk back together. This time, the village dogs would meet us at the temple door. They followed us to our home, growling and fighting with each other for the chapatis we threw to them. Here you have got a new word, monotonous, which means dull, tedious and repetitious, lacking in variety and interest. Stale, no longer new or fresh. Scriptures, the sacred book. Growling, to make a low, rough sound, usually in anger. Moving on to the explanation. In third and fourth paragraph, the writer is talking about his second stage of life. The second stage of the writer's relationship with his grandmother began when he started going school. The writer's parents left him with his grandmother when they went to live in the city. The writer and his grandmother both had a very good bonding. They were like friends. The grandmother used to wake him up in the morning and get him ready for school. She just wanted him to listen to her songs and learn. So, she said her morning prayer while bathing and dressing him, which the writer loved to hear but never bothered to learn it. After that, she used to pack his wooden slate, a tiny earthen ink pot, and a red pen, and tie them all in a bundle and handed it to the writer. After providing him with the breakfast of a thick chapati with a little butter and sugar spread on it, she used to drop him to school. So this was their daily routine. She also used to carry several stale chapatis with her for the village street dogs. The writer's school was attached to the temple where his grandmother would sit and pray. The priest himself was a teacher, taught them the alphabet and the morning prayer. While children sat in rows singing the alphabet and prayer in a chorus, his grandmother sat inside reading scriptures. In the evening, they would walk back together after school. While returning, grandmother used to throw stale chapatis to the street dogs. So, this was the daily routine of the writer and his grandmother. Now please look at paragraphs 5 and 6. When my parents were comfortably settled in the city, they sent for us. That was a turning point in our friendship. Although we shared the same room, my grandmother no longer came to school with me. I used to go to an English school in a motor bus. There were no dogs in the streets, and she took to feeding sparrows in the courtyard of our city house. As the years rolled by, we saw less of each other. For some time, she continued to wake me up and get me ready for school. When I came back, she would ask me what the teacher had taught me. I would tell her English words and little things of Western science and learning, the law of gravity, Archimedes' principle, the world being round, etc. This made her unhappy. She could not help me with my lessons. She did not believe in the things they taught at the English school and was distressed that there was no teaching about God and the scriptures. She said nothing, but her silence meant disapproval. She rarely talked to me after that. Distress means extremely sorrow. Moving on to the explanation. The third stage of their relationship began when the writer's parents sent for them to live in the city. When the writer's parents were comfortably settled in the city, both of them, the writer and his grandmother, went to live with them. Their living in the city was a turning point for the grandmother and the grandson. The writer went to an English school, but the grandmother never liked the way he was taught. Though Singh and his grandmother shared the same room, she was unable to help him. She could no longer accompany him to school, and there were no dogs in the streets. In their city house, she used to spend some time feeding sparrows. For some time, she continued to wake him up and get him ready for school. When the writer was studying in village school, his grandmother was able to help him. But now he is studying in English school in the city. He learnt English and the things of Western science, but she was not able to understand them. It made her unhappy. She was disappointed that she could not help him with his lessons, and also not teaching about God and the scriptures. As the years rolled by, they saw less of each other. Now please look at 7th paragraph. When I went up to university, I was given a room of my own. The common link of friendship was snapped. My grandmother accepted her seclusion with resignation. She rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone. From sunrise to sunset, she sat by her wheel spinning and reciting prayers. Only in the afternoon, she relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows. While she sat in the veranda, breaking the bread into little bits, hundreds of little birds collected round her, creating a veritable bedlam of chirpings. Some came and perched on her legs, but she never shooed them away. It used to be the happiest half hour of the day for her. Please look at meanings of new words. Snap, break suddenly and completely. Seclusion, the state of being private and away from other people. Veritable, used for emphasis, often to qualify a metaphor. Bedlam, home for mad people, a scene of uproar and confusion. Chirruping, to make a short sharp sound like a small bird. A veritable bedlam of chirping. It refers to the noise, confusion and chaos caused by the chirping of the sparrows that scattered and perched around the writer's grandmother. Moving on to the explanation. When the writer went up to university, he was given a room of his own. After that, the common link of their friendship was taken away. As the years rolled by, the author's grandmother became too old and now she is using the spinning wheel. She rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone, which means the narrator's grandmother always kept to herself and did not like to keep company with anyone. She was almost always busy spinning at the spinning wheel silently. She would not even move away from the spinning wheel to talk to anyone. His grandmother accepted her seclusion with resignation. I have already told you the meaning of the word seclusion, which means the state of being private and away from other people. Even though his grandmother was very sad, she accepted it. Later, she spent her whole day at the wheel spinning and reciting prayers. Only in the afternoon, for half an hour, she relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows. As the writer shifts from his village to the city, the situation comes like he has to get away from his grandmother. Somewhere in our mind, we feel very sad while listening to it. Isn't it, students? There was a good friendship between grandmother and grandson. But unfortunately, because of the situation, the common link of their friendship was snapped. It's very sad that she gradually remained away from her grandson and his activities. Dear students, I hope you all have understood second part of the prose, The Portrait of a Lady, written by Kushwant Singh. Let me ask you a few questions to know how much you have understood. First one, what did the writer have for breakfast in his school days? The writer had thick stale chapatis with a little butter and sugar spread on it for breakfast. Second one, what was an inseparable part of the grandmother? Yes, the rosary and her prayers were an inseparable part of the grandmother. Third one, why did the grandmother always accompany the writer to his school? The school was attached to the temple. The priest taught the alphabet and the morning prayer. When the school went on, the grandmother sat inside the temple reading the scriptures. Next one, choose the correct answer. First one, the author's parents left him with his grandmother when dash. Your options, they went to a foreign country, they went to live in the city, the author did not want to go with them, the grandmother told them to leave him there. The right answer, B. They went to live in the city. Second one, the author's grandmother went to school with him dash. Options, so that she could also learn, to be with him constantly, to read scriptures in the temple, to teach in the school. The right answer is C. To read scriptures in the temple. Third one, the grandmother was unhappy because dash. Options are, the author went to school in a bus, the author did not talk to her, the author went to a local bus, they did not teach about God and the scriptures in the English school. The right answer is D. They did not teach about God and the scriptures in the English school. I hope you all have answered correctly. Well done, students. Dear students, now I am going to end up this class. We'll meet you in the next class with the third part of the prose, The Portrait of a Lady, written by Kushwant Singh. Bye for now. Thank you. Have a nice day.